What's good, y'all? Welcome back to our channel, aka Two Real Chicks. My name is Aisha.
My name is Lyah, the realest chick of this entire podcast, and I'm gonna keep saying
So today we're going to be talking about
the concert that just so happened to have a football game.
first reactions. What did you think?
I was right about what she would perform.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and watch the Super Bowl predictions video that we uploaded the other day. And I literally said some of the songs that I thought she would be performing.
Yeah,
And I pretty much hit the nail right on the head.
yeah.
And I thought that it was good from like obviously I hate that I couldn't really see visually, but like for her to be pregnant and for her to be, floating in the air and like
The girl was definitely
moving somewhat, it was still a great show, and the mic was on.
yeah.
Okay, she gave us vocals.
Honey, you know how some people, we be like, is it on? Because you really can't tell sometimes. That mic was on.
It was
Homegirl
on.
breathing heavy, but it was on.
It was definitely on, and it was like it's one of them things where you had a lot of people that were complaining about the performance. I did see a live here on YouTube where people were saying if they thought that baby announcement was gonna make it spectacular, it just didn't do it for me. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, okay. But you have to think though, when she's probably not that far along in her motherhood journey.
I
Um
can't even say that because her belly, you can see it. Like it's a round belly. It ain't
yeah,
just
you can see it, but I'm saying she's probably not that far along. Back at the same point, it feels like it was literally just yesterday. Like when you think about the time, it felt like it was just yesterday we found out that she was pregnant
Mhm.
with her first child, with her little boy, and now she's pregnant with another baby. We don't know the gender. But what I really I just there's a lot of significance. Like there are a lot of hidden messages that were involved in this Super Bowl performance that I didn't catch on to, or I didn't even know about because until TikTok, which I think really makes it special in its own little way, considering how big of a show, a performance this is.
Mhm.
So, but just for initial first reactions, it was really good, and the medley of songs that she did were pretty good. There was something in there for everybody, honestly.
Yeah. I think she played all the songs we were wanting to hear, all the songs we like literally loved from her. I knew the Umbrella song had to have been played. You had to do it. She couldn't have did the whole dang on thing. And
That
honey,
was the thing that was her one of her biggest hits though, right there. It was kind of hard for her not to.
yeah. I think she had a nice good mix. Like I feel like sometimes when people are given the Super Bowl, they pick songs that are like right now that they have going on right now, which is good because obviously it's gonna promote them. But she has no new current music. I saw somebody say that they didn't want her to do the Lift Me Up song. That's not
I
her
saw
song.
that.
I was like, that first of all, it has to be her song in order for her to actually be able to play it. That wasn't her song. I mean, All of the Life wasn't either, but she played a big role in that one. So I thought that was cool. Initial reactions, I was so glued into my TV. If you was on my TikTok, you would have seen it. I was on live while they had did the halftime show, and I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. She was in red. The guys, there was a lot of men in this performance, a lot of men, and they were in white,
It was
but
very
it
much
was,
Valentine's Day themed. That was very much that red and white are Valentine's Day colors.
and the freaking, oh my gosh, her promoting Fenty, Savitex Fenty in the middle of her performance, honey, iconic.
And
Like,
Fenty Beauty, because she put out a Fenty powder, didn't she, during her
mhm.
thing? Yeah, that's a whole other thing to talk about too, during with this thing. Like she played bitch better have my money. Super
Yes.
Bowl wasn't like the Super Bowl does not pay you for performing. That
Mm-mm.
is you're basically performing for free,
Mm-hmm.
and your money comes in the form of the exposure that you get after the fact, or the
Yeah.
revamp that your career has after the fact. Like her streams on Spotify jumped up like 640% for like the songs that she played.
Mm-hmm.
And her sales, I'm quite sure, for Savage X and
Went
for
up.
Fenty Beauty have gone up tremendously as well. Because
Yeah,
you have to think, you are in front of 100 million people. A third of the country is watching.
literally.
Like a third of this country is watching the show, and you're in front of so many people during the halftime show, and then the world, because people are going to see it all over the internet, all over the world. And so that's your payment. Your payment is exposure,
Yeah.
which is really smart for them to say, hey, we're not going to pay you, but we can guarantee you, because you're on the world's biggest stage, you're going to get you're going to get what you're looking for. You're going to get publicity, you're going to get sales, you're going to get all of the things, which
But
I thought was cool.
the commercials that she was a part of, the pre stuff before the show, that I think she gets paid for that too, because she, is a brand within herself.
If anything, they're going to dish out more money, and this is their way to make that money back. So, like, to put it into context, the Weeknd did the Super Bowl some years back, and they said he paid $7 million to get what he wanted, to get the stage look how he wanted, et cetera, et cetera.
I didn't
When
watch.
the Weeknd did, I'm not really the biggest Weeknd fan. When he did his Super Bowl performance, whatever exposure he got turned into him probably being able to make that money back and then some. Because, like I said, look at the amount of people who are able to see him and, like,
I think he
get to stream his music and stuff.
right after that in 2021. Yeah, because 2022 was the whole Dr. Dre performance. But yeah, he ended up going on tour, and I think his tour was pretty damn successful. So that was good. Like, that was really good. It definitely gave him exposure. The
Absolutely.
halftime show this year. Okay, so I try to avoid, looking at white tees opinions on black stuff. Like, I really try to
Yeah.
avoid it, but sometimes you kind of fall into it. And girl, what I saw, unnecessary. Like, they were once again saying, why is this on our TVs? I had to unplug my TV screen because they were doing too much. And it's not even
It's
like
always the conservative Christians too, because I feel like
mm,
they had a lot to say about maybe how she was dressed, or how
yeah.
they were dancing, or what was being played. They had a lot to say about the Super Bowl last year,
Oh yeah.
with Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem,
Mm,
and Mary J. All them people. Y'all mad because it's black as fuck. That's
yeah.
really what it was. Like, if you want to be real about it, that's really what it was.
Mm.
But I don't want to spend too long. I don't want this video to get too long and for y'all to tune away. But I want us to just kind of touch on, like, the hidden messages that were in the Super Bowl. So we do have a clip from Kempire on TikTok where he talks about one of those hidden messages.
So by now you know that Rihanna has confirmed that she is pregnant with her second child with A$AP Rocky, but there were certain moments in her performance that we should take note, including her special tribute to her friend Andre Leon Talley. So at the end of her performance, she wore this big, beautiful jacket. Well, you may recall Andre Leon Talley, who was the mastermind behind Vogue and Anna Wintour, passed away recently, and he had a very special place in his heart for Rihanna. So shout out to Eric Darnell on Twitter, who highlighted this moment, saying that the Andre Leon Talley page said that Rihanna's look was a tribute to the iconic Andre Leon Talley and his red Norma Kamali sleeping bag coat. Andre was the inspiration and the mastermind behind a lot of fashion designers and upcoming fashion designers, and he loved Rihanna. So for her to take this special moment for herself and announcing her pregnancy and also paying tribute to him during Black History Month.
I honestly didn't know about who she was paying tribute to. Like, I had no clue. So I'm glad that I got to find that information out. But another thing that I did enjoy before we touch on, the whole Leon thing, I enjoyed that it was a Rihanna show. I enjoyed that it wasn't like, I thought Jay-Z at one point was going to pop out. I thought Kanye at one point was going to pop out. Drake at one point, I thought he was going to pop out. But it was a Rihanna show. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of people, she said, I may bring a special guest with me. They weren't expecting a baby. I think they were expecting Jay-Z or Kanye,
Yeah.
or maybe Shakira or somebody to pop out that she's done features with in the past. And I feel like going into it, a lot of people's expectations were really, really high. But people were saying, if you know Rihanna, Rihanna does not give you much to like to the eye to look at. Like, visually, she's not a Beyonce. She's not a Doja Cat. She's not
A
a
J Lo.
Chloe Bailey or anything, J Lo, not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and I only say Chloe Bailey because I know those are girls that give you visuals, that give you things to look at. That's why I said that. I'm not saying that she's on their level. It's like musically. So don't y'all come in the comments trying to, why you comparing? I don't want to hear that. But she's not one of them people that's going to give you visuals. She's going to give you dances, a good choreography,
A little
and
step to step.
nice fashions and vocals.
Mm-hmm.
And people were saying on social media, her confidence is like, says a lot. It's very telling because it's like, I don't have to do what all these other girls do. Y'all gonna enjoy my shows anyway.
Right.
Because it's me and because I just have that it factor. I don't have to, I'm going to dance. Yes. And I'm going to make the show worthwhile, for me, but I'm not going to sit up here and do all these fancy visuals. And like, no, I'm gonna give y'all a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm also going to look cute while I'm doing it. And my mic is going to always be on, period. So I feel like a lot of people, when you went into it and you went into it with looking at the Super Bowl from last year and Super Bowls in the past, I can understand why people felt a bit underwhelmed because it's like you ain't really danced like that. And I understand when you've been gone for 7 years, 8 years, and we haven't heard anything from you. Yeah, we're gonna want to see you twerk to work. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna want to see you shimmy and move and like, really give it to us. And I get why people were upset, but at the same time, she's pregnant. So it's like you got to give her some grace. But to touch on Andre Leon Talley, he was as y'all, he probably said in the video, he worked for Vogue for a while and he worked with a lot of different fashion designers. And I believe he even styled a lot of celebrities and, he loved Rihanna. Rihanna was one of his good friends, obviously. And I didn't even know anything about the look that she wore, that jacket that she wore toward the end of the performance. But also another little tribute that she did to him, which I thought was just so like toward the end of her performance, she did Umbrella and she did Diamonds. And Andre Leon Talley, those were, I believe, his 2 favorite songs.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically the part they quoted on his Instagram, I believe they quoted it and said, said I'll always be your friend, took an oath, I'm gonna stick it out to the end. And then they quoted like a portion of Diamonds and they put Bad Girl Riri and I think they tagged her in it. I think that was one of his favorite, those are probably 2 of his favorite songs.
Mm-hmm.
Of hers, damn it. And obviously he passed away, I believe, last year.
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Yeah, I believe he passed away last year. But that, to know that she paid tribute to him in those 2 ways, and like they were so minor to some of us if you don't know, but yet they said so much. Like if you weren't paying attention and you didn't notice, it probably like, oh, okay. But they said a lot in that performance.
Yeah, for sure. I love that for her. I do. And like, I feel like if you had somebody that was down for you like that, and they're no longer here to see you at a spot I'm sure y'all had sat down and talked about, and then you can do something like that, I think is amazing. Like that is a really good friend. Okay.
I totally agree with that. But I just think that like for her to be able to do that for him and letting him know that, hey, like, you're here with me in spirit. I thought that was just really, really cool because I had no idea that she even did that. That was amazing to me in and of itself.
But I thought this was like, all in all, like my closing conclusions. I honestly think this was like a really good performance. And for the people that didn't like it, hell, it is what it is. We all have our difference of opinions, but I think we can respect her artistry. Like I can care less if she was dancing or not. Like hell, I can't see a lot of the movements anyways. Like
right.
I enjoy just seeing her on her stage, like on a stage in general, performing and singing, actually singing, because most girls these days.
And now that you say that, this was not what I was going to say, but oh well. I literally had a thought yesterday where I made a video yesterday where I just said, can we just all agree that it felt really good to see her back on stage again? That it was really nice to hear her singing and performing. Like, yeah. Can we agree with that? And can we come to the conclusion and accept the fact and be okay with the fact that we are probably never ever going to get another album from her ever again, because I feel like, and then I thought about like all the things that happened to her over the course of her life and why she's so private now. Like, you have to think one of the most traumatic things that ever happened to her was like played out through the media, and you had a lot of people taking sides and saying who was right and who was wrong, and then you had the pictures of her on that particular night come out and how she was looking and things like that. And then she was in a relationship with Drake, and like some of those details became slightly public, but we really don't know too much about it. But it's like, when you have to share so much of your life on social media anyway, and you get criticized for every little thing you do, it's like, at this point in my life, I'm older. I don't want to have to hear y'all's opinions, because social media has gotten, it's not the same social media that it was back in like 2012, 2010.
Oh no.
And like Pablo the Don, they said on their video, they were like, you know, when you become a billionaire and you have like, and you don't have to make music, you now have more control over your private life, over your life being private and what parts of your life you want to share. Rihanna can literally just focus on her brand and launch her makeup and her fragrances, which I hope she dives more into, her fragrances and her clothes and things like that, and not have to tell us a single thing about what she's doing. For all we know, she could have married A$AP Rocky 3 months ago and we wouldn't know shit about it. Because why? Because she doesn't have to broadcast that. You ain't gonna know what Rihanna's doing until you see her doing it. Yeah. And that's just the beauty of it. And like I said previously, I love how she's transitioned into it. But I just feel like whenever we get her, she's really at a point now where she can decide when she wants to perform music, if at all. And then now you have to add into the fact that she's popping out babies left and right. She's in her 30s, so you know what they say about women in their 30s and having kids. It gets a little bit harder to have kids when you after a certain age. So pop them out while you can, sis. I'm not mad at you. But when you have children, it's kind of like, when you're comfortable with that. I'm a businesswoman and I'm a mom, and if I don't have to be away from my kids, you think I'm gonna no?
But she's given us 17 years of
worth of music. Absolutely.
Like, we don't even, I can listen to every Rihanna album back to back and have no skips and be like, yeah, this was good. Like, I don't mind hearing her old stuff. I don't mind. Like, this halftime performance, girl, them songs gotta be in my new playlist, okay?
And I think and like what the performances do, what the Super Bowl does is, like, especially if you're a musician, like even with Eminem and all of them that came out and did the Super Bowl last year, you forget how good them songs is until you see them perform. Like these bitches was slapping for real. Like, Rihanna was a big part of a lot of people's childhoods, including mine. And when she started doing, I'm like, hell yeah, Rude Boy, that was my shit. I ain't had no business singing Rude Boy at 12, 13 years old, but I was singing the fuck out of it.
Better have my money for her to come out with something that we knew that's Rihanna's, like, bitch, like, I'm here. Like, you can't say nothing. Like, that is that song. Like,
yeah, I just, it's just one of them things where, like, when you forget how good a song is and you see her performing it, it's just like, oh fuck, that shit actually was good. So it's just kind of like, we're not going to get an album anytime soon. I'd be okay if she gave us a feature, but I'd be okay if she gave us nothing. Is it sad as a fan? Yes, it is. Because you realize when you don't get it anymore, you realize just how much of an impact a person has had on the industry, like, as a whole. Yeah. And you don't realize that until they step away from it and they start doing other things. But it's one of them things. It's a transitional phase, and she's like, I'm over it at this point. I don't have to do it anymore. When you get to that point, you've made it, and she's truly made it, honestly. But Super Bowl performance was amazing. For her to be pregnant and 50 feet up in the air, it was amazing. And business wise, of course, she was going to take the opportunity to promote her business. She'd be stupid not to.